let me conclude. I saw my respected the leader of the minority side suggest that he was expecting Honorable Sam George to retract some of the things he said about the Chief Justice. He was expecting him to retract things he said about President Akufo-Addo. I am honorably urging my leader that the same principles by which you use to say that you will not support Honorable Sam George, I'm encouraging you, use the same principles and apologize to the clerk in which you lay to and then apologize to her. Thank you very much.
The conduct of our clerk has resulted in some trauma to the family. He knows the family, I don't know the family. And the lady in question. Let me, Mr. Speaker, unreservedly say, what's her name? I want to mention the name in full. Please. I will do it. Mr. Speaker, let me unreservedly say to the clerk to the appointment committee, Mrs. Gifty Jage Goba, I am sorry.
Whenever I say my PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Minister for Roads and Transport.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the motion moved by the chairman of the appointment committee and seconded by our respected colleague, the minority leader. Mr. Speaker, indeed, I believe Honorable Purple have what it takes to drive the government's agenda of creating more job opportunities. He's a very experienced politician and of a calm demeanor and can take the job and do it very well. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Mutala is very passionate about the environment and has advocated on many occasions what we can do. And I know that he's somebody who has got a research background as well. So some of the things raised by my good friend, Honorable Opon Kruma, I believe Honorable Mutala can handle them. Mr. Speaker, with regard to Honorable Sam George, I respect the position taken by the minority. But just to say that their stance is a bit problematic. If we begin to, for instance, some of the reasons given for not supporting him is because he has failed to produce documents relating to businesses of his spouse. Mr. Speaker, Sam George is not the owner of his wife. You need permission. Yes, Sam George is not the owner of his wife. If your wife owns a business, you need her permission to be able to give details of that business. So this idea that when you are being vetted, you can be vetted on everything, including personal things. I am just saying that whilst it's him today, one day, be prepared that some other questions which has no relation to the portfolio can come up. And then this thing about his secondary source of income. Really? So colleagues on the other side are saying that if somebody were to ask you to actually determine how much you spent as a member of parliament, you will be able to account for all of it and put it in a document. Oh, but that is your point. I think these points are too feeble. These points are too feeble points to be used to say that you will not support him. But you have your point. With regard to Honorable Kofi Adi, the new minister designate for youth and for sports, I agree with Honorable Opon Kruma that we have seen the building of a number of astroturfs across the country. The record, though, is that many of them are not built to standard. Some of them are failing already, and many of them are, let's face it, many of them are in constituencies located to this side of the house at the moment. That is a fact. But he's made a very important point. that let's ensure that we can put those to use even beyond when the sun is there. And I agree with him. And I'm sure Honorable Kofi has what it takes to be able to do that. With regard to Honorable Nikwe, I have no doubt that he understands exactly what the job description is. One of the things he talked about is the EV. But Honorable Oponkruma, the truth is that, yes, the previous government said they have got an EV policy. And then on the day of the launching of the buses, we were told 100 EV buses are available. I checked that time. Only 10 buses were registered at DVLA. So we don't have 100 EV buses. We have 10. But even those 10, would you be concerned that if that bus moves from Tema Station and gets stuck in traffic on the way, it may not be able to get to Tema and come back because we don't have the infrastructure to handle them yet. So in the haste to deploy EVs, it comes with infrastructure. So it's not merely having a policy. We don't have, because you need to charge it. It doesn't come, it is not fuel. So I agree with you. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I know my colleague, the minority leader, always complains that when he's speaking or people speaking from the other side, he's harassed. When Honorable Ponkrumai was speaking, I saw my colleagues listen to him in silence. So please, can you indulge us? Mr. Speaker, our respected former leader and the Minister of Education raised an issue. Mr. Speaker, the spectacle we saw at the appointment committee, I was there the last time. I am happy we have been able to resolve it. The leader of the minority, I saw you made certain points, including the fact that Honorable Sam George should retract and other things. I want to use this opportunity. I know that as members of Parliament, we are not blind. We all know and can tell who in the parliamentary service, or we have suspicion, could be NDC or an MPP. But we never put that kind of information outside. I know, and you know, that there are members of Parliament who have direct relations with people in the parliamentary service. But the point I'm making is that the way by which the minority leader actually dealt with the clerk of the appointment committee, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, no, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, is it part of the report?
Honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, is it part of the report?
Honorable member.
I can tell my colleagues, I just left my job as a whip. Whenever I'm speaking, somebody puts my mic off. I can tell you, I can do that right now. That when you are speaking,
Leader,
I can make sure you are
Minister, please.
Mr. Speaker, yes, I'm listening to you. Mr. Speaker.
Minister, address me.
Okay.
I wish the issue about the clerk has been addressed by the Speaker. So let's focus on the nominee. And
Mr. Speaker, let me tell you why this issue has to be dealt with. I know the lady and I know the family. They are extremely traumatized. Mr. Speaker, after the minority. All I'm going to say, Mr. Speaker, allow me. All I'm going to say is that give the opportunity to my very good friend, the respected minority leader, to openly apologize to the clerk. Mr. Speaker, repeatedly, when I speak, they put the mic off. Mr. Speaker, they should not tempt us to do the same thing that when you speak, you cannot be heard. And I can see, Mr. Speaker, there's a colleague, a female colleague on the other side, who I don't want to mention, who has become an expert in that. There's a female colleague on the other side who has become an expert in that. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Mr. Speaker, I am just saying that I know the lady. The family is traumatized and they feel that Parliament, and I'm happy with the way Mr. Speaker defended her. Mr. Speaker, I sit here, I say, everybody in Parliament knows which staff is political, NDC or NPP, but we never use that against them. Mr. Speaker, I can tell you the political coloration of the 4 people sitting here, but that is not my business. So for the minority leader, a very respected leader of this house, to actually lay into the clerk that way, I am saying that for us to look like people who actually care about women, she must actually apologize personally, apologize on the floor. He can decide, Mr. Speaker, he can decide not to do it. He can decide not to do it. But I am just saying that for the trauma the family of the clerk is going through, it will help if he makes some statement here to calm them down that it's not it's not something personal. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I just want to add to what Honorable Haruna said. We have consistently disagreed vehemently in this house, and you being the chair, we speak, and then we leave it there. For the fact that for the first time since I entered this house in 2013, colleagues got so infuriated to the extent of physically destroying tools that have been given to us to work with. Should never happen again. Not say why? Because I was sitting there. The mic, the console in front of me. The console in front of me, Mr. Speaker. I saw the colleague.
Honorable member.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member.
In the Parliament.
Mr. Speaker.
Please.
Mr. Speaker, do you know why I need to talk about this? I have been invited. I've been invited by the committee.
Honorable member.
Investigating.
Honorable Minister, please, I wish we hold on to this. Let's focus on the nominee. I think we will revisit this particular issue. Let's focus on the nominee and pass them. Some of them sitting here, all what they are waiting is they have been passed. So please, let's focus on the nominee and pass them.
Yes,
then
Mr.
later on we can revisit this.
I saw my respected the leader of the minority side suggest that he was expecting Honorable Sam George to retract some of the things he said about the Chief Justice. He was expecting him to retract things he said about President Akufo-Addo. I am honorably urging my leader that the same principles by which you use to say that you will not support Honorable Sam George, I'm encouraging you, use the same principles and apologize to the clerk, in which you lay to and then apologize to her. Thank you very much.
Intolerant minister.
Leader, will you? Leader.
Let me deal with it. Let me deal with it, please. Mr. Speaker. My respected friend and colleague, who is now the Minister of Roads and Highways, in making his contribution, introduced an important matter which arose in the course of our committee hearings. Mr. Speaker, what I'm sure he's not aware is that this matter has been discussed at a very high level in this House. We've had engagements, and I am not a person who would have hesitation where I think I am wrong. I would hide behind my ego to hurt another person. I had assured Mr. Speaker that based on the engagement, I was actually going to make a formal statement here in this House in respect of all the matters We all human beings. Maybe somebody, I remember when we were kids, somebody will use their eye to provoke you. But when you hit, it is that which is seen. But we've moved past there. Mr. Speaker, without equivocation, I shall proceed in terms of what my brother said. And he and I have a long relationship. I don't mind he saying that publicly. It is for the good of all of us. Today I'm 46. Tomorrow I may be 50, and I will not be the same person. We grow, we learn, we mature. If Kwame is saying that he knows the family, and my outpour, please, it doesn't mean anything. Please, we've been in this house for some time, I beg you. If Kwame holds a view that he knows the family, my reaction on the conduct of our clerk has resulted in some trauma to the family. He knows the family, I don't know the family. And the lady in question, let me, Mr. Speaker, unreservedly say, what's her name? I want to mention the name in full. Please. I will do it. Mr. Speaker, let me unreservedly say to the clerk to the appointment committee, Mrs. Gifty Jagger Goba, I am sorry. Let me also say to her husband, Mr. Speaker, she bears Mrs. Let me also say to the husband, the lovely husband, that my comment in respect of internal matter, if as a husband he is traumatized by this, I hereby unreservedly apologize to him as a husband. To the children, let me unreservedly say sorry to the children. Let me unreservedly say sorry to the extended family, those close and dear to her who are affected by my outpour of disappointment in her conduct, and to all her colleagues in the parliamentary service, including colleagues who felt that I could have managed the matter better. Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry. I again apologize unreservedly, and I know that with all discussions held, we would be able to work better in spite of some reservations that we may have. Mr. Speaker, let me emphasize that even as we were resolving this matter, at least I've had a better approach. This afternoon we met. I had the opportunity of looking at drafts and she making corrections, and relationship has been restored. She and I did not have a bad blood. She knows the relationship, the former relationship I had with her in our work. Except that, Kwame, I have been a majority leader before. I was in that black seat. You were here opposite. The standard she held in respect of dealings between the majority and the minority leader was what perhaps compelled my reaction. Because, please, colleagues, a man must be heard. Please, a man must be heard. Please, please, please. She held us to such a high standard, and I felt that the same treatment could come from her whilst we are in minority. But that notwithstanding, I concede that there is always a better way to react to a situation, and I will not allow ego to direct me on what to do, especially when she's a woman. I unreservedly one more time withdraw this, and I would write a personal letter to her to keep for her records from the bottom of my heart. Mr. Speaker, I rest my case.
Yes.
Dedi kama mamenda PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Ah nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV. I see say a lot of people are moving from the traditional media to the social media. And PENDREAM, you are setting the pace because you bring the issues as they are. And the those are the issues. And then Unipa are not ready for just ordinary endorsement. But people want to hear the issues. What are the issues? What are the possible solutions? So for me, I'm endorsing PENDREAM TV. And I'm recommending, say, Obi Biana who feels traditional media and why you're bored with it, I'm going to live up to expectation. Your next last stop, PENDREAM TV.